Biting me. So we had two questions. One is about previous Buddhas, whether they were born into caste systems. So when you go to Jataka stories, you find stories about, Buddha Vipassi and him at his time. Some of the prominent monks during Buddha Gautama, they were born at that time in the Buddha Vipassi's time into high-class families, and how they lived such a good life and became very close to the Buddha, and they made wishes at that time. They made a wish. According to that wish, they are born in this Buddha's time, and they became to be the prominent disciple of this Buddha, because they saw someone who did that at that time, and they also felt very inspired and made a wish that, okay, let me also aspire to achieve that same goal and develop those qualities as a human being. And by next Buddha's time, I will be the prominent disciple of the Buddha, and I will be the one who is among those who have psychic abilities. I will be there can be more, but I will be the most prominent one among those. So they aspire. That's why when they say, can we become enlightened in this life, then they say, if you don't have such aspirations that you are making a wish to become so and so in a certain Buddha's time, if you don't have any of that, your ability to become enlightened within this life is still possible. But when you try, some things stop you from achieving that, because you have already promised in a way to a Buddha that you will be so and so person in the future. So the universe is in some ways supporting you in that decision, and you make every opportunity to become generous. That somebody appears in front of you as a beggar, anything you have you will give, because your impulse is working, that you are working towards that goal. And such people are exemplary, even in social situations, that they become. I see this dentist living in Winnipeg. He openly says that he's aspiring to become a Buddha in the future. And it's very interesting to talk to him that he knows all these teachings in his head. So he starts from some place and he goes on and on explaining so many things, because he doesn't need to. He has so many books at home. Any book you recommend, he would go and find it and keep it in his, and he also reads them. And he has this one habit. That's why I visit him every time I visit Winnipeg. Like last weekend, I particularly made a visit to his home to see the bunnies he rescued. Yeah.
Rabbits?
Rabbits. Not bunnies, rabbits. He rescued.
Oh, bunnies, rabbits. I thought maybe it was something else. That's why I used the word rabbit.
What did you think? You want to share?
For a second, I thought you said bodies.
No. He's not a murderer. What he does is amazing, that he rescues them, and when he wakes up at 3 in the morning every day, and he keeps 10 precepts in his life. His wife handles all the money related things that they have earned a lot of wealth because he's a dentist, and his wife also does the same business with him, supporting. She's not a dentist, but she knows.
Office manager?
Office manager plus a little bit more. She learned it from him. Sri Lankan people, close to many monks, and he also is a good meditator. At 3 o'clock, he holds those rabbits and welcomes them into his chanting ritual, and then puts them back. They go on doing their businesses. And when new babies are born, he holds them too and sends me pictures. So that's amazing when he does that. And he keeps doing that. He keeps rescuing them. He keeps rescuing animals and going to Sri Lankan places when he has a chance, and chanting there and giving talks to monks. He's very inspiring for people. When there were no monks in Winnipeg for a certain period, about a decade or so, he was the monk. He was giving talks to people. So when you go now as a monk to give talks, it's very hard because he has taught all those things. People know so much because he has already taught those things. So there are people like that. When I talk to him, I try to be very careful also that he's a future Buddha. I don't discourage him. I support him in that decision. But some monks, again, my friend monks are now living in Winnipeg. They say, your path is different, my path is different. My path is to become enlightened now. Your path is to become enlightened in the future. We don't know when. So they get into conversations like that. But he remembers in past Buddha's time, and there was this man who was born into so and so places and did this and that. So he remembers wishes people made. Very interesting to listen to him. So such people exist even now. And recently one monk passed away in Sri Lanka. His name is now in Aryadam, known among people, and now he's back in heaven, according to him, according to this man, and according to many monks, and waiting for an opportunity to become a Buddha. So that means even in the present life, they live a life that gives an idea to people that these people are special and will be Buddhas in the future. They are very close to becoming enlightened, but they don't do that now because they have goals. And another man in Sri Lanka living in Matugama, he's a doctor himself, but he didn't do MBBS, the training to become a doctor, but he goes to meditation, recalls medication from 800 years back, and tells people, okay, you do this and your problem will be cured. But one rule is, that person who takes medication must go to his temple. He has a temple, that's where he lives. Must go every full moon and listen to Dhamma and practice meditation. And they must keep 5 precepts. So when I go to that place, I see about 600-700 people coming. And when he does Buddha's birthday celebrations, I saw more than 6,000 people come, because he has touched many lives over the years of giving medications. And listening to him is very inspiring. It feels like he's beyond any monks you have listened to. So they have that ability. And he talks about Kasina meditation, a type of meditation taught in Buddhist scripture but very rarely taught. Like, for example, space kasina means you focus on space, or aloka kasina. Aloka means light. So you sort of like look at a light, and then you make that the object of your meditation, and you attain the goals based on that meditation you do. And he has the, yeah?
Is the space one, is it also called open mind meditation?
You can. Open space. So they say you are looking at the roof, say that, that's like space that you are looking at. And you zoom it what is this, like zoom in?
Zoom in.
Yeah, zoom in, and you start to make that the object that you are seeing constantly, that you have stared at it long enough that even when you close your eyes, it's there and it doesn't leave you. So you focus on that and you enter into it basically, because you have now more control over it, and you let it expand within you. And expanded means Mahagata in Pali, that's found in Pali. And when you have done that, you have more control over the direction of your mind, and your samadhi mind becomes stable. Some people don't enjoy breathing meditation, they need different meditations.
What were you going to say about the attainments of the one before David mentioned that?
One before what?
You were talking about, what are you talking about, fire casino or lower casino, the attainments of that? Or?
Attainments are similar to any other attainments, because mind has taken you to like Piti. You mentioned second jhana before.
Okay, so jhana.
So jhana states, and well, if you are someone wishing to be ending, end suffering, then you are taking that direction. If not, some people develop psychic abilities like making fire, making water, or sitting in a storm, snowstorm, and not being bothered about that. So, and you don't need any jackets, your own body is the jacket for you. Interesting things. This man in Kalut, he's able to make fire. I have seen it, but nobody can video those things. He's not allowing anybody to. He doesn't need that attention. I have seen that, but I don't know how he does that. So what I saw is, his hand. Everything is in the darkness. At that time, the current contestant of presidency, Gotabe, is also was there. Just the five of us in that room. His son also was there. So he went into a meditation trance and he started being silent. And I heard his teeth clenching. That's the sound I heard. I don't know whether it's his teeth, because I could only see so much in the darkness. And all of a sudden this fire started it came from the palm and started running across the body. And it lasted every now and then, and then it came back and then it disappeared. So he says this is the place where he first did it, and he could see the earth about a couple of 100 kilometers down if he wants to.
And there's certain casino practices that are more conducive for particular psychic abilities, right?
Yes. That's what the commentaries say. The problem with the scripture is that you don't see a lot of kasina instructions. Kasina, although it's in the 40 types of meditation that one could practice, it's in that list. But if you go to the sutra list, say for example, I would go to pitaka.lk, is a place I constantly go, and there's one sutra. Well, this is not in English. Say Kasina. Okay, try to read that. So you see, this is Kasina Sutta. Let me tell you, like if you go, this is Sutta Pitaka, and you go to Anguttara Nikaya Gradual Sayings, and the 10th chapter of that. In the 10th chapter, you find somewhere here Mahavagga, and then you go to Sihana, the list of sutras, and one of the sutras is Kasina Sutra. It's very short. It's just that much.
What's the script?
Let me find you the English one. Hopefully,
I
yes.
stare at it all day. It's not gonna help.
See, that's this. Thus දසයිමානි භික්ඛවේ කසිනායතනානි කතමානි දස පඨවි කසිනං ඒකෝ සංජානාති උද්ධං අදෝ තිරියං අද්වයං appamanan. So I read that part, so let's read the meaning. These bhikkhus are the 10 kasinas bases. Which 10? One contemplates the earth kasina above, below, traversely, undivided, all permeating. I read to that letter. Permeating. Yeah. Appamana, right? Limitless. So this is basically a list. Do you want to read the rest for your own knowledge?
Oh, that's
Better?
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can you send us that in Slack?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's read it.
Okay.
One contemplates the water kasina above, below, traversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the fire kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the air kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the blue kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the yellow kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the red kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the white kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the space kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. One contemplates the consciousness kasina above, below, transversely, undivided, all permeating. These bhikkhus are the 10 kasina bases. So this is among the 40 types of meditations, and 10 of them are kasinas. So, what did I do? That's so on the left side. This is a website called buddhavachana.org. You said you needed that in Slacks.
Yes.
So, see, the preview appears. Oops. Above link is the discourse on 10 kasinas. So when you write kasina, this is how you write it. Or maybe I can call it.
You're supposed to have diacritic. It's up top.
Cerebral net.
It's at the very top.
You see, this site gives meanings.
Oh.
Yes.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Kasina means entire or whole. Number 2, particular type of meditation object, each of the 4 elements, 4 colors, space and consciousness to be attended to undividedly. Means undivided attention. Bhikkhave or bhikkhus. Imani, this thing. Look, you need to use this for your studies.
Yes.
Katamani, katama, which, what, dasa, 10. Patavi, the earth, kasina, same thing again. Eko, one. Sanjanati, to recognize. Interesting. I was just going to copy this and then.
I think Sutta Central has a mouse over function like that too.
Mouse over.
Yeah, the pop-up when you mouse over it.
Like it verbiage up there. Oops.
So kasana can mean entire, whole,
Yeah.
or also undivided attention? Did you say
No.
that meant
Appointed
undivided
meditation.
attention also?
When you do kasina, you need to have undivided attention.
Oh, okay, to do it that way.
on water ability was mastery over the earth element, where everything's perceived as solid. So
Yeah, walking on water and things like that are described in certain sutras. And it's interesting that nobody is able to do that now as among monks, you know. But it is also discouraged by the Buddha.
public display of psychic
Yeah,
power.
public display and attracting people to that is discouraged. So that rule must have contributed heavily for people not to do that.
This is what came to mind when you were talking about why you don't find all the psychic powers and
Yeah.
stuff. I thought, well, maybe it's because he was
Mhm.
discouraging that, so he
Yes.
spent too much time on it.
Wasn't there that story where there was a contest to get a sandalwood bowl?
Yes.
And one of the monks flew up there in public
Yeah.
and got it, and
Yeah.
that's where that rule came from.
Right. They thought Buddha will be happy. But the opposite came. He was unhappy about that. He said, that's like prostitutes showing the body to attract men. Don't do that. That's not how you should. The greatest miracle is you yourself being tamed and teaching others how to do that.
Instruction.
So he broke that rule. Well, he later on, although, and then he said, well, it doesn't apply to me. I'm the founder of it. Because many monks would go crazy sometimes when they don't get it, trying to meditate. Like I have tried meditation myself under the guidance of this layperson who said, I shouldn't have, believed him that much. Well, I was just beginning. I was strongly at that time. I was almost at the point of giving up my studies and meditating. And my teacher said, "No, not encouraged. Keep both study and then take a break and meditate." That's why I respect my teacher. That I think he did the right thing. When I practiced under him, I had 3 of my friends who achieved Arahant state before me, according to the instructions of this man. And I was crying. I found myself so desperate, wanting to achieve that. And I had to tell him that I was in that, desperate situation. And he said, "Okay, you meditate with me and let me sit in front of you." And he started doing something in front of my face. I could see that. And he said, "Oh, you are there." And I knew that was not how it works. That's the day I left him. That's the day I left him, because I still knew that I had defilements in me. My kind of arahantship has to be something that is free from defilements. So having followed many famous teachers like that, he was famous, I realized the work has to be done by yourself. It's not done by somebody else. And that's the teaching of the Buddha too. It has to be you learning your own defilements and undoing them. Because they say half of the youth of your life is to build a healthy, half of your life is to build a healthy ego, and the next half is to let go of it. Healthy ego, not ego. Healthy ego means you get degrees, academic degrees, and that's healthy, that you feed the family, based on your skill set. And then the next half of your life is to let go of it. That's a beautiful thing to say. Sometimes people spend their whole life building their ego and never, contribute any time on undoing of it. So, okay, I shared that, and I want to take you to the sutras where they talk about psychic abilities. So, let me recall one. Many sutras in.
Is there anything in it though that gets you closer to enlightenment? Developing
Every
psychic
sutra
ability.
does.
Developing psychic abilities. Well,
I think Sakuladaya Sutta, let's read that.
They can be distractions, but they can all, if we can use
I
them
don't
towards-
think any sutra will give you, make it closer, like Satipatthana Sutra, for example, the discourse on establishing mindfulness, that teaches you basic framework for establishing mindfulness and reaching enlightenment. But there is a time where you take mind under control, although that's not the exact way it is put, that you are able to now direct yourself in that direction, and there you are getting closer to. But no sutras is highlighted as one that takes you closer to psychic abilities.
There's one where the Buddha performs miracles, so psychic miracles, right? Like
Yeah,
the bridge in heaven and
yeah, Yamaka Patihari. That's not the name of the sutra, but twin miracle sutra, twin miracle incident where the Buddha, descended from heaven after teaching his mother and fellow heavenly beings there, and having come down, he, at the end of the 3 months reigns, it's about this time of the month, he performed twin miracle, like I think, I don't know, from some part of his body, parallelly water and fire
there's one where he
shooting.
turned arrows into flowers, right?
Many,
On a
many
battlefield,
stories like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then the ones where was it Sariputra and somebody else were meditating and a demon came flying through the air and hit the guy on the
Hit him,
head.
yeah.
And one saw it, one didn't. The guy that got hit didn't even feel it.
Yeah, that story is found here. Now again, Sariputta, it's a hard blow enough to kill somebody, but Sariputta was in deep meditation. It didn't affect. Can you silence that thing? Somebody has it.
Not me this time.
Yeah.
mine's off.
Mine's not here.
Not mine either. Well, somebody's. And at that point, Sariputta Moggallana, who is the foremost among those monks who had the psychic abilities, could see it because they were closely living near each other, and asked, like, did you not feel that? And then the conversation goes on. I think I want to find Sakuladaya Sutra also because it has cussiness. So Sakuladaya Sutra. See if I find that. Maybe it's middle-length discourses. Maybe I'll open the one from the Minding Center. Oh, that's the translation by Piatan, very detailed. So this is a person living in Singapore, and he was a monk in Thailand for a long time, and now he's a layperson. So his translations and annotations are things I use regularly because they are very detailed, and he goes to the commentary. And somewhere down below you should find the sutra. Yeah, Greater Discourse to Sakuladaya. So this is that sutra.
What's the translation of the Sakuladaya?
Sakuladaya is a name,
Oh,
like John.
oh, two. Okay.
Okay, translate John if you want.
Bathroom.
The Buddha decides to meet Sakuladaya, so he has broken it into different subheadings. At one time, the Blessed One was staying in the squirrel's feeding ground in the bamboo grove, Veluvan, outside Rajagaha. At that time, some very well-known wanderers were living in the Wanderers' Park in the peacock's feeding ground. That is to say, the wanderers Annabhara, Varadhara, Sakuludai, and so it's the name of a wanderer, and various other very well-known wanderers. Then early in the morning, the Blessed One, having dressed himself, took his robe and bowl and entered Rajagaha for his alms round. Then it occurred to the Blessed One, it's too early to go for alms round in Rajagaha. Now, what if I were to go to the wanderer's park in the peacock's feeding ground and approach the wanderer's Sakuludai? So the wanderers in the peacock's feeding ground, then the Blessed One went to the wanderer's park in the peacock's feeding ground. Now at that time the wanderer Sakuludai was sitting with a large crowd of wanderers, all talking loudly, shouting, making loud noises, and indulging in various low talk, means talks that are not so appropriate for wanderers. Wanderer is someone who is committed to a simple lifestyle and begging for food for survival. That is to say, talk about kings, robbers, ministers of state, about armies, dangers and wars, about food and drink, about clothing, beds, furniture, garlands and scents, about relatives, about vehicles, about villages, towns, cities, the countryside, about women and heroes, gossip of the street and at the well, tales of the dead, tales of diversity, philosophical discussions of the past and future, talk about the creation of the world and of the sea. We did that today. And talk of whether things exist or not, talk about gain and loss. So these are talks, how many in number? Either. So there is a number for this that are prohibited by the Buddha. What is the number? Do you remember? Like when someone goes to the temple, like Sivaranagiyama, they say abstain from these kind of talks. When they go to full moon day retreat at the temple, so they try to abstain from talking politics and stuff because of this. Now you see why in Buddhist sutras you find less meat in terms of stories and politics. That's the bare minimum. If monks are allowed to do that, some monks are so skilled, they will add so much stories into it. So then the wanderer Sakuludai saw the Blessed One approaching from a distance. Please join me in reading. And he called his own company of followers to order, saying, Good sirs, be quiet please, don't make a noise, good sirs. The recluse Gautama is approaching. This venerable one is fond of quiet and praises quiet. If he sees that this company is quiet, he will most likely want to come and visit us. When this was said, the wanderers fell silent. See, they knew that the Buddha was someone who encouraged silence. Why is that?
Peace of mind.
For peace of mind. As soon as you talk to someone, you get trapped in stories, and somebody tells something, or that's talking is disturbance. Because most people don't talk mindfully, because one thing leads to another, right? Like this class today, one thing leads to another, and then we are carried away into the sutras. This is good, because this is what needs to happen. You need to do it when you are inspired to do it, and then you kind of follow up with it. Otherwise, if I throw it at you and you are like, why this monk is talking about it? So we will go on. Okay, where were we? When this was said, the wanderers fell silent. Then the Blessed One approached the wanderer Sakuludai, who then said, Please come, Venerable Blessed One. Welcome, Venerable Blessed One. It's been a long time since the Venerable Blessed One has found the occasion to come here. Let the Venerable Blessed One take a seat. Here is the seat that has been prepared. The Blessed One sat down on the prepared seat, and the wanderer Sakuludai, taking a low seat, sat down at one side. So he recognized himself in a lower position compared to the abilities and teachings of the Buddha. Having sat down on the prepared seat, the Blessed One said this to him, Sakludai, what is the talk you are having sitting together here? And what is the conversation that is left unfinished? Basically, the Buddha knows what they are talking about, but he still asks. Sakludai's report, or the wondrous talk. He says, never mind the talk, Bhante, for the sake of the talk for which we have now gathered. It will not be difficult for you, Bhante, to hear this talk later. In recent days, Bhante, when recluses and Brahmins of diverse sects gathered and sat together in the debating hall, this topic arose. What a gain, sirs, for the people of Angamagadha. What a great gain, sirs, for the people of Angamagadha, that these recluses and Brahmins, heads of an order, heads of a group, congregation teachers, well-known and famous ford makers, who bring others across the river of suffering, interesting, regarded as good by the masses, have come to Rajagaha for the rains retreat. There is this Purana Kasaba, the head of an order, head of a group, congregation, teacher, well-known and famous ford maker, regarded as good by the masses, who has come to Rajagaha for the rains retreat. You must have learned about the Purana Kasaba, 6 main teachers. So I think this is the list. The Makkali Gosala, Ajita Kesaka, there is this Ajita Kesakambali, there is this Pakuda Kachayana, there is this Sanjay Belatiputta, there is this Nigantanataputta. These were had huge followings like the Buddha did because of their skillful teachings. So this recluse Gautama, the head of an order, head of a group, congregation teacher, well-known and famous ford maker, regarded as good by the masses, he too has come to Rajagaha for the rains retreat. So Rajagaha basically is a hub where everybody came for everything,
It's
like
a place
New
to
York
be.
City.
Place to be right now, at the rains retreat.
Yeah, place to be. Looks like it's a town built for anybody to come and dwell. Now of those recluses and Brahmins, heads of an order, heads of a group, and so, who is the Lord? Revered, respected, esteemed, honored by his disciples. And how, having honored, respected, do these disciples dwell in dependence on him? So, 6, what's the meaning of scorned? Rejected.
Say you
Okay.
did something wrong.
Okay, 6 teachers scorned by their own disciples.
Back turned upon.
Okay, so at that part, you can guess what that is. So let's go hunting for what we came for. So having neither honored or respected, but Nigantanatha Buddha do not dwell in dependence on him. So students rejecting. Okay. But the Buddha is well respected by his students. Sakludai has 5 qualities. Sakludai said, not Sakludai's 5 qualities. How many qualities do you see in me on account of which my disciples revere, respect? So the Buddha asking for Sakludai to talk about the qualities that he sees in the Buddha. Bhante, I see 5 qualities in you on account of which your disciples revere, respect, esteem, honor you. What are the 5? The Blessed One takes little food and speaks in praise of taking little food. Bhante, that the Blessed One takes little food and speaks in praise of taking little food. And then this quality, the Blessed One is contented with any kind of robe and speaks in praise of contentment with any kind of robe. So this other quality, the Blessed One is contented with any kind of alms food and speaks in praise of contentment with any kind of alms food. So just accepting what is offered. One time when the Buddha went for alms round, this man saw, and he was very sick, had his limbs, almost rotten and falling. And just as he was offering the only bread he had, his finger fell into the Buddha's bowl. And to help that man, the Buddha sat under a tree in the vicinity of that man, put that finger aside and started eating. The man was so, he felt, as the finger fell into the bowl, he was like so worried that he ruined this recluse's meal. But it was the opposite. Buddha kind of read that mind and just enjoyed the meal. Because in the type of meditation the Buddha teaches, I encourage you to read this sutra later on. What is it called?
Basically 1 through 4 is equally satisfied. Right? 1 through 4? So 1 through 4 is just basically being easily satisfied.
Yeah, being easily satisfied. The sutra is called
Maybe even 5,
So-
I don't know.
do you have the discourse, the collection of, you have the Samyutta Nikaya, right? Can somebody go and grab it? You don't have that first name. Can someone go grab it? Yes, Toshika?
I take it. I know what it is.
Yeah.
Say whoever knows what
And then
it
there
is.
was the story of the kid who put a mud pie in the Buddha's bowl, a lump of mud, and he later became king, right?
Really, I don't remember.
Do you remember who that was?
Quite possible that it happened.
That was only in your mind,
No, that's just because I don't remember it doesn't
Right.
mean.
But it was like, the kid did that and everybody rebuked him saying, why are you defiling his bowl like that? And the Buddha said something like, well, that's all, he didn't have anything else to offer. He was a poor kid.
Yeah.
He didn't have anything to offer. But then when he became king, I forget what the karma was associated with it because of, it was a little bit dirty. Yeah, I'll look that up and get that.
Excuse me.
Oh, very good. It was just playfulness.
No, he
What is it?
sincerely
What-
offered because he saw everybody, giving to the monks and
His
stuff.
intention was to offer.
Yes, yeah, and he didn't have
Okay.
anything to offer, so.
Yeah. This sutra. So in this sutra, let's wait for him.
Well, for what?
We should read that sutra today too. I encourage you to read because it's part of very much contributing to meditation too. And you will find it very inspiring because it has, what's the name of the sutra? Try to remember. Because in that, what is beautiful is explained. Beautiful means subha. What is that?
It's late, that's what it is.
Late submission of exercise. But thank you for doing that. I observed this time, last time at the end of the class, you wanted exercise. Previous time I gave exercise. And previous time you did those. This time less people did those.
Really?
Yeah. Less people submitted. Oh, you still haven't submitted.
I just haven't said it.
I have returned everyone's exercises almost immediately. The 1609, page 1609. Oh. Bit below. This is a different version, a big volume. Analysis? Oh, okay. Oh, you brought. This is a numerical discourses actually, not this one.
No.
Another
Sanyutta.
Samyutta.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's green.
Here has to be.
Why don't you both go?
Yeah.
This is Sujata.
Sujata. And in that I don't know the place of it, so yeah.
How about search?
Let's go. Let's try.
Okay.
certainly.
Yeah, I mean, it's approaching break time right now. Did you just wanna?
Look it up there.
We can take a break too. Did I go that far? Like that long?
It's about an hour, so
Okay.
it's like 5 minutes shy.
Yeah.